Welcome all of you to the session of biology. Today we are going to discuss about external structure of heart. So this is the class 10th biology topic, chapter 3, that is circulation. From that chapter we are going to just discuss about external structure of the heart. So let us begin with, as we all know, the most vital organ of our body is heart, mammalian heart. So now what are the points to be covered under this external structure of heart? While writing the answer, we need to remember that what is the shape of heart, size of heart, weight of heart, cells, the heart is made up of which cells, then the tissues, location, protection, chambers of the heart and the blood vessels. So let us discuss all of these points in detail. When you talk about the mammalian heart, what is its shape? The shape of mammalian heart is conical. Conical, in common it is called as pear shape. Pear shape, the heart, structure of the heart, the shape of the heart is conical in shape. Size is one's clenched fist. If you talk about the size of the heart, it is one's clenched fist. A person's heart is about its fist, size of the fist. Then weight of the heart generally weighs between 300 to 400 grams, approximately it is 300 grams. The cells of heart, as we all know, heart is an organ. If you talk about the organization of the body, each and every organism is made up of cells. Yes, similarly, so structural organization of the body, if you talk about, basically the organisms are made up of cells. The cells combines to form tissues. Tissues combines to form organs. Organs combines to form organ systems. Organ systems combine to form organism. Organ systems combine to form organism. So basic structural unit of an organism is the cell. So in heart, if you talk about the organ heart, what are the basic structural cells inside the heart? It is cardiomyocytes, cardiac cells. Okay, cardiomyocytes are nothing but the cells with which heart is made up of. And the tissues, cells combines to form tissues. As we know, in the organization of the body of organism, cells combines to form tissues. So what are the tissues present in the heart? The heart is made up of the tissues called as cardiac tissues, cardiac muscle tissues or cardiac tissues, also called as cardiac fibers. So now, as we all know, in the level of organization of body, cellular level, the heart is made up of cardiomyocytes, and the tissues present in the heart, they are called as cardiac tissues. Now let us talk about the location. Where is the heart situated in the body? When you talk about the situation of the heart, the location of the heart, it is mediastinum. The word, the terminological word which we use over here is called mediastinum. The location of heart is mediastinum. What does it mean? It means the position of heart is in the center of thoracic cavity. In our chest, location of heart, where is the heart actually located? The location of heart is called as mediastinum. What is mediastinum? The area which is present in the center of thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity means nothing but the chest cavity. Thoracic cavity is also called as the chest cavity. So in the center of thoracic cavity, slightly towards left. We generally believe that the heart is only in the left side. No, the heart is in the center of thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity is the chest cavity. Only the basal portion of the heart, if you see this region, this is slightly towards left. So heart is located in the center of thoracic cavity slightly towards left. Only the basal portion, this posterior end of the heart, is slightly towards left. That is the reason why the left lung is slightly smaller than the right lung, because the left side of the thoracic cavity is the basal part of the heart is slightly towards left. That's why the lung towards the left is smaller in size. Now let us talk about the protection, how the heart is protected. Protection of heart is given by pericardial membrane. Now the question arises, why the heart requires protection? The heart requires protection because it is a vital organ. It is the most important organ of the body. From the 21st day of embryos, protection. Why the heart requires protection? Because heart is the vital organ, it has to be protected properly. From the 21st day of embryonic period till we die, the heart continuously does its function, that is nothing but pumping of the blood. So what is the function of the heart? We know very well, it is pumping of the blood. So the protection is given by pericardial membrane. First of all, the bony protection is given by the rib cage itself, and then next membranous protection is given by this membrane called as pericardial membrane. It covers, it surrounds the complete heart. Okay, pericardial membrane, two layers of pericardial membrane is present which covers the heart, and it protects. How it protects the heart? This space, if you can observe, the space between the heart and the pericardial membrane is called as pericardial space. What is it called? Pericardial space. This space is not empty, but it is filled with the fluid. This fluid is called as pericardial fluid. Pericardial membrane, okay, the two layers of pericardial membrane has this space called as pericardial space. Okay, so this pericardial space is filled with the fluid called as pericardial fluid. Hope you are understanding. The pericardial membrane is two layered, and in between that pericardial membrane there is space called as pericardial space. The pericardial space is filled with pericardial fluid. What is the function of this fluid? This pericardial fluid protects the heart from shocks and injuries. Any kind of friction or a small injury or shocks, it can be absorbed by this pericardial fluid itself, and it does not allow the heart to get affected with that kind of shock or injury. So this is very important, 2 marks question, very short question. It can be asked, how the heart is protected? The heart is protected with the help of the pericardial membrane, which is filled with the pericardial fluid, and it protects the heart from shocks and injuries. Now let's talk about the chambers of heart. Externally, when you see the heart, you see it as a piece, as one piece. But if you see keenly, if you observe keenly, you can see that there are some grooves. There are some grooves which are dividing, which is showing that the heart is internally divided. If you can see, there is a groove over here, or a fissure which we can say. So this fissure is dividing the heart internally into 4 chambers. If you can observe over here, this is one chamber, this is the second chamber, this one is the third chamber, and this one is the 4th chamber. So by seeing these fissures, we can analyze that the heart internally is divided into 4 chambers. So total how many chambers are there internally in the heart? 4 chambers. But external, in the external structure itself, you can observe these chambers because of the fissures provided here. Okay, so these fissures will show that the heart is internally divided into 4 chambers. Now what are those 4 chambers? The upper 2 chambers are collectively called as atria, whereas the lower 2 chambers are called as ventricles. So here are the 2 atria, that is right atrium and left atrium. Similarly, right ventricle and left ventricle. So there are total 4 chambers of the heart. Upper 2 chambers are called as atria, okay, or atrium. Atrium is singular, one single atrium. If we collectively call these 2 atrium, we call it as atria. Similarly, there are 2 ventricles. What are the ventricles? Right ventricle as well as left ventricle. Okay, so upper side 2 atria, lower side 2 ventricles. Right side is right atria, left side is left atrium. Similarly, right ventricle, lower right ventricle, lower side left is left ventricle. So these are the 4 chambers of heart. In the internal structure, we are going to discuss in detail about these 4 chambers. So now we are discussing only external structure of heart. That is the reason why you need not to elaborate about these chambers of the heart and other blood vessels. Now let us talk about the blood vessels. We are talking exclusively about the blood vessels which are found in the walls of heart, in the sense which supply the blood to the walls of heart only. We are not going to discuss the blood vessels which are bringing or carrying the blood towards the heart or to taking the blood towards the body parts. In the internal structure, we are going to discuss these blood vessels, but exclusively under the external structure of heart, there are 2 major blood vessels which you have to remember. Those are coronary arteries and coronary veins. What are the 2 different blood vessels which are found in the walls of heart? As we all know, heart is a living structure made up of living cells. It requires blood. Okay. Why does it require blood? Blood only is the fluid connective tissue. It carries the oxygen, glucose, everything towards the cells, and the cells has to function. The cells of the heart have to function. The tissues of the heart have to function. The function of heart is nothing but pumping of the blood. What is the function of heart? Function of heart is nothing but pumping of blood. So it is called as pumping station of the circulatory system because it pumps the blood to the whole body. The blood from the whole body gets pumped by the heart. So for performing its function, it requires its own nutrients and all. So for that reason, the vessels which are very important over here are coronary arteries and coronary veins. Now what is the function of coronary artery? Here you can see this blue color and pink color, this colorful, if you can see, these blood vessels are nothing but the coronary and coronary artery and coronary veins. So here this blue color ones are indicating veins, coronary veins, and the other color, that is red color or pink color vein, pink color vessels are indicating coronary artery. Now why did I use 2 different colors to indicate these coronary blood vessels? The reason is blue color indicates deoxygenated blood. Remember, blue color indicates, blue color vessels are coronary veins, which indicates that it is containing deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood. Okay, now the coronary artery is denoted here or reflected here with the help of this color, different color, pink or red color. That indicates that the blood, kind of blood in this blood vessel is oxygenated. Oxygenated. So while studying the internal structure of heart also, you have to remember wherever we are using this red or pink color, this is indicating that the blood vessel contains oxygenated blood, whereas the blue color is indicating deoxygenated blood. So 2 different colors in your textbook also are used to denote oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. The important points which you have to remember about external structure of heart, the most important is the pericardial fluid, function of pericardial fluid. The second most important point which you have to remember is about the blood vessels which supply the blood to the walls of heart. Coronary artery and coronary veins. Coronary artery, what is its function? The function of coronary artery is to supply blood to the walls of heart, whereas coronary veins collects. What is the function of coronary veins? Collects deoxygenated blood. Remember, it is deoxygenated, and this one is oxygenated blood. So it collects the deoxygenated from the walls of heart. So the function of coronary artery is to supply blood. Which kind of blood, children? It is oxygenated blood to the walls of heart, and coronary veins always collects the deoxygenated blood from the walls of heart. There can be question asked in your board exam or in your government exams, what is the reason for coronary disease or coronary diseases such as heart attack or cardiac arrest. So the reason for cardiac arrest or heart attack is the blocking of coronary artery. If the coronary artery blocks, that means there is no blood, oxygenated blood provided to the heart, walls of heart. They stop functioning. Then it may lead to the heart attack or cardiac arrest. So you have to remember, blocking of coronary arteries may lead to heart attack or cardiac arrest. So in this session today, we have covered the external structure of heart. In the next session, we are going to cover the internal structure of heart. Thank you.